Hi, my name is Nellie Ellis, and I'm a Chief Blueprint Ambassador for Kentucky Youth Advocates. But today I'm here to talk to you about one of my absolute favorite days of the year, which is CAD, Children's Advocacy Day. Now, this day began in 2004 as an effort to unite voices from across the state of all ages together as one. Now, every year, hundreds of advocates show up at Frankfurt's Rotunda to rally on behalf of kids. At this rally, the main goal is to show your support for the overall well-being of Kentucky's youth and to show your support for the policies found on Kentucky's Blueprint for Kids. CAD is so important because, like it or not, the kids in our state have to face a lot of problems, and many of them either are helpless in their situation or don't know what to do in their situation. So it's our job to be a voice for those who are voiceless. And you can do this by advocating at CAD. Now, this might be just showing up and saying, yes, they have my support. I care about Kentucky's kids. Or you can even take that a step further and go speak to a legislator about an important bill that stands out to you. Any way that you decide to take this on is helpful, because it shows the people who are in charge that there is a large group who genuinely care about Kentucky's kids. And they will keep that in mind when they start voting on policies.
Thanks, Nellie. I'm Jessie Whittish with Kentucky Youth Advocates. We are so grateful for Nellie's support at Children's Advocacy Day and the support of the hundreds of youth who have attended Children's Advocacy Day in the past. Those of you watching this webinar may be attending Children's Advocacy Day for the first time, or you may be an experienced advocate. Either way, we're so glad that you are joining us on February 13th. So why is Children's Advocacy Day so important? Why all this buzz? Well, the big thing is that we know that numbers matter. When it comes to the General Assembly, when it comes to legislators, there are a lot of competing priorities, a lot of people trying to get their attention. And when legislators see numbers like the hundreds of advocates and the hundreds of youth that care about kids filling the rotunda and meeting with them in the annex, they realize that these issues affecting kids carry weight. We really use Children's Advocacy Day to ask legislators and decision makers to prioritize kids. And while it's important for advocates, it's probably most important for legislators to hear from youth like you. Your voices carry a lot of weight in Frankfurt, sometimes more than just these adults who are speaking for young people. They really want to hear from the young people themselves. So we're going to do a quick overview of the Children's Advocacy Day agenda. If you're coming with a group, you may have some other activities here, but here is the general schedule. So it's a pretty full day. At 9:30, material pickup begins on the Capitol mezzanine. So you can pick up your Children's Advocacy Day lanyard and badges. You'll also have a folder which includes fact sheets about policy priorities. It includes a map of the Capitol, some office numbers for legislators. A lot of different materials are in that folder. So you can pick those up there on the mezzanine. Also on the mezzanine, beginning at 9:30, are some advocacy information stations. So you can stop by one of those stations to learn more about the policy priorities, kind of the priority bills that we're hoping you'll talk with your legislators about and get some tips for meeting with a legislator. At 11 o'clock is the rally for Kentucky Kids that is in the rotunda. We'll have speakers, there'll be cheers, so we hope that you are cheering loudly. We'll hand out some awards. Right now, leadership from the Senate and the House and the governor are confirmed to speak. That's subject to change, and even more important than all of that, some Kentucky youth are scheduled to speak as well. At 10 and 12, there are some legislative committee meetings, and if you've never been to one of those can be really good for kind of seeing how the legislative process works. At 1 o'clock, there is a youth reception on the Capitol mezzanine, and all Kentucky youth are welcome to attend that. So it's a good opportunity to network with legislators, and youth will be presenting awards to other youth and also presenting awards to legislators. At 2 o'clock, if you are able to get gallery passes, you can watch the House or the Senate in session. And then all day, we encourage you to stop by the Children's Advocacy Day social media station on the mezzanine. We'll talk a little bit more about that in another segment, but social media is a really important part of advocacy. So what do you need to do before February 13th so that you are ready for Children's Advocacy Day? So you want to register. You can either do that as an individual or you may have registered as a group. Follow Kentucky Youth Advocates on social media and use these hashtags. Again, we'll talk more about that in another segment. Learn about the Blueprint for Kentucky's Children policy priorities. We'll talk about that in another segment. You can also see that online. And then check on the status of those bills and other bills that are good for kids on the bill tracker that is already up and running. So you can go to our website at kyouth.org to see that. And then find out who your legislator is and what committees they serve on. We'll talk about this in another segment, but there's a couple different places you can go to find out who your legislator is. So on Children's Advocacy Day, what is it that you really need to be doing? And the primary thing is just showing up for kids. Again, having numbers and hearing from you, all that is just really important. So be really visible. Be an advocate on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all of that. And then make connections and, make connections with legislators, make connections with other advocates, make connections with other youth across Kentucky. It's a really good opportunity to kind of connect with others who are working on policy changes that are good for kids.
So if you're a youth and you're planning on attending CAD, maybe you're excited because you get out of school. But that shouldn't be the only reason that you're excited, because CAD is super fun. It's not something that's just dull and drab at the Capitol. It's a rally. It's meant to be exciting. We're going to have posters, cheers, chants. I remember when I went freshman year for the first time, I was overwhelmed by all the people showing their support and all the smiles on their faces and the emotion on their face. You could tell that people genuinely cared. And you're there for a reason. You're not just there to miss school. You're there because you are doing something important for others. And there's nothing like that experience.
One of the most amazing resources available to those attending CAD this year is social media. By sharing your experiences online, you're exposing your friends and family to amazing organizations like KYA and showing them how people across the Commonwealth are coming together for the common good. You're inviting people of various backgrounds and ages to come together and fight for a better future for the kids of Kentucky.
Thanks, Hannah. I'm Kelsey Dimer with Kentucky Youth Advocates, and I'm going to share with you a little bit about how to use your voice on social media at CAD. As many of you know, social media is an important tool at CAD. We'll post updates from the KYA channels about bills throughout the session, and if you're on Twitter, you can use these hashtags to let folks know that you're going to CAD and to be in the conversation throughout the session. So you can see these KYGA19, CAD KY 2019, and Blueprint KY. A couple other reminders for the day. Be sure to charge your phones in advance so you can come prepared to post. And make sure you stop by the social media station where we will have a photo banner, an Instagram frame, as well as a Snapchat filter, which is new this year. So we're very excited about that. Additionally, if you have peers who can't attend CAD, we will be live streaming the rally at 11 a.m. So make sure they tune in for that if they are unable to join.
Now, CAD isn't just a party. There is actual results from the event. For example, my freshman year, I actually was able to go and educate others, kids and adults alike, about House Bill 180, which had to deal with fictive kin. And so I was advocating for that bill all day because it was super important to me that that got passed. And within that same day, it passed several of its committee. And then later, it was put into law. And so I was elated by the fact that through my hard work, through the hard work of others around me, many kids were going to have a loving home that they wouldn't have had before. And that just meant so much to me. And hopefully you can have a similar experience with a bill that you support, or just seeing that fantastic bills are being put into place because you said, I am here for Kentucky's kids.
Thanks, Nellie. What Nellie said is so spot on. This is not just about having a fun day. Your voice can really make change for the kids of Kentucky. So we are going to share an overview of the 2019 Blueprint for Kentucky's Children policy priorities, but just a bit of background on the Blueprint. The Blueprint is a coalition of nonprofit, public, and private organizations that speaks with a common voice in order to have a better shot at making positive changes for Kentucky children. The Blueprint stands on 3 pillars: thriving communities launch strong families launch successful kids, and successful kids launch a prosperous future for Kentucky. And with that, here is a short video with an overview of the 2019 Blueprint policy priorities. Now that you've seen all of the policy priorities, we have some students from Craft Academy who would like to tell you more about some policy priorities that matter to them.
Now that you've seen a general overview of all the bills, take a look at more in depth at a couple from the Craft Academy for Excellence in Science and Mathematics.
It is necessary for all children to be in a safe, healthy, stable, and stimulating environment in order to thrive. Over the past several years, Kentucky has taken strides to support children in all different ways, and we have the opportunity to take another long stride. By aligning state law with the Federal Family First Prevention Services Act, FFPSA, we can receive federal funding to better serve our children.
Kentucky is in fact second in the nation in rates of abuse and neglect. The FFPSA can help alleviate such a terrible statistic, as the program is known to target risk factors of abusive homes and focus funding on other programs that could help families who show the early signs of abuse or neglect.
The opioid crisis has been very hard in the United States, and Kentucky is one of the most hard hit. The FFPSA can help parents and families overcome substance abuse or mental health issues and reduce the need for foster care for the children. However, if children do enter foster care, their stays will be much shorter and the families will have a much better chance of reuniting. Thank you, and we hope you support the FFPSA.
The bill we chose is the ending of incarceration for children for behavior such as running away.
We chose this bill because it addresses the behavior in the household, such as abuse, instead of punishing them for it.
Yeah. An alternative to incarceration would be community service programs to help these children instead of put them in prison. Yeah. We believe that this will help prevent future behaviors occurring, and it will help these kids stay out of trouble. Yeah. Yeah!
Why is it important for youth to speak with their legislators? We as youth may not be able to vote, but together we can make a change. The world is our classroom, and we don't have to be afraid to raise our hands. Our leaders in Frankfort represent everyone, not just a chosen few. In order for them to make the best and most informed decisions, different perspectives need to be heard. That means yours, that means mine, that means ours. Perspectives that adults cannot see have to be heard. If they cannot see you, they cannot hear you. We as youth influence the impact of our future that will carry on for generations. Nothing will change unless we go out there and change it.
Hi all, I'm Mara Powell, and that video was from Brian Gonzalez, and he is exactly right. Legislators need to hear from you. But what does that mean, and what do you say? So if you go to KYA's website to the Advocacy tab, you will see a link to an advocacy toolkit. Here's where you'll find the legislator lookup link so you can see who represents you in Frankfort. You'll be able to enter your address and click submit, and then all of your elected officials, including your state senator and state representative, will pop up. And it'll include their contact information, including their office address, their phone number, email address, and even links to their social media pages. And all of this is good to know, not only for CAD, but also throughout the rest of the session as you reach out to them on important kids issues. All right, so now that you know who your legislators are, the next step is reaching out to them to schedule a meeting for the day of Children's Advocacy Day. The earlier, the better on scheduling. They're busy and it can be hard to get an appointment. Some of you may already have legislator meetings planned for CAD, but if not, you'll be able to call this number on your screen and ask for your legislator's office. The staff are usually very helpful, and you'll just let them know that you're a constituent and that you'd like to set up a time to meet with them on February 13th, which is Children's Advocacy Day. The staffer may ask you what you'd like to meet with them about, and you can mention that there are several issues on the blueprint for Kentucky's children that you'd like to talk to them about. Be sure to give the staffer the names of all who will be present in the meeting so that they're prepared. So that would include you and any of your peers or chaperones that are joining. And if your legislator cannot meet in the morning or the afternoon of CAD, be sure to invite them to join you and other advocates at the Children's Advocacy Day rally in the Rotunda at 11. All right, and then here are a few tips for meeting with your legislators. And you will also have this information on the folder that you'll be picking up on Children's Advocacy Day. And they're also available in that advocacy toolkit that I mentioned earlier. First, know that most meetings with legislators are less than 15 minutes, And so you want to be able to, be social and be friendly, but to get to the point of your meeting. Be sure to introduce yourself as a constituent, share all the relevant materials, including any fact sheets, and get to your ask, which is to support those items on the blueprint for Kentucky's children. And know that if you don't know the answer to a question that they have, don't be afraid to say, I don't know. And this will give you a reason to follow up with them with more information. So on the days and weeks following Children's Advocacy Day, there is still much work to do. It doesn't end on the 13th. So there will be several more days of session left. And so we recommend, if you do meet with legislators on Children's Advocacy Day, make sure you follow up with your legislators with a thank you note. We find that those handwritten notes are best, and you can always drop them an email too. And there will be tips on that in your Children's Advocacy Day folder or on KYA's website about how to do that. We also recommend that you follow your legislators and other organizations on social media, as we've talked about. And you can use that information to contact your legislators as bills move. We will be putting out action alerts, so make sure that you are on the email lists. And if you would like, we would also be sending those out via text alerts, so you can sign up for those by texting KYA info to 51555 to get those alerts. And a good way to see a lot of this info consolidated is on the bill tracker, which we mentioned, and this is already up and running with some of the blueprint items that have been filed, as well as some other legislative items that are good for kids. So be sure to check that out. All right, thanks so much for all of the youth who helped prepare this video, and we look forward to seeing each and every one of you at Children's Advocacy Day.